My son drove other women around in his car while his wife was dying in a hospital bed. And when I found out, I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't warn him. I simply waited, quietly, until the day he would walk straight into the truth he thought he buried. He didn't know I had seen everything. He didn't know his dying wife had whispered a secret into my ear before she took her last breath. And he definitely didn't know that the moment I opened my mouth, his entire life would collapse. My son, Eric, used to be a good man, or at least that's what I believed. He married a sweet girl named Madison, a girl who called me mom from the first day she entered my home. She brought flowers on my birthday, hugged me on holidays, and always asked how I was doing with genuine concern. She was the kind of daughter-in-law any mother would dream of. And then Madison got sick, really sick. Her body grew weaker every day, and while her strength faded, Eric's conscience did too. He became cold, impatient, distant. And it didn't take long before I realized something was terribly wrong. One evening, a nurse called me. "Mrs. Carter," she whispered, "Madison is asking for Eric. She's been crying. She says he hasn't visited in 4 days." 4 days? My son had not visited his dying wife for 4 days. Not a text, not a call, not a moment of his time. I drove to his house with my heart pounding, hoping there was some explanation, any explanation. But when I arrived, the truth wasn't hidden. His car wasn't in the driveway. Music blasted from inside. Female laughter echoed from the garage. I didn't even need to step inside to understand what was going on. Instead of confronting him then, I called him. He answered breathlessly, annoyed that I interrupted him. When I told him Madison was crying for him, he actually chuckled. "Mom, relax. She won't even know I'm gone. She sleeps all day now." Something inside me cracked that night, but I stayed silent. I watched him continue his double life, comfort at home, pleasure on the streets, and a dying wife he barely acknowledged. Every day I visited Madison. Every day she smiled through pain, thanking me for being there. Every day she asked if Eric was coming. And every day I lied a little more to protect her breaking heart. Until one morning, Madison looked at me with tears streaming down her sunken cheeks. "Mom, please don't tell him. I know he's not here. I know he's busy. I don't want to die feeling unwanted." I held her hand, kissed her forehead, and promised she wouldn't leave the world feeling unloved. Then she whispered something that almost stopped my heart. "I changed my will. Everything I own, my house, my insurance, my savings, I left to you because you were the only one who stayed." I stared at her, shocked. She squeezed my hand gently. "Please, protect my memory." 3 days later, Madison passed away. Eric didn't show up until an hour after she died. "Tragic," he muttered. I said nothing. Not then, not at the funeral either, where he pretended to cry, where he hugged me like a devoted husband grieving his soulmate. I watched him accept sympathy he didn't deserve. And after the service, when we sat alone in my living room, he sighed dramatically. "Well, at least the house is mine now. We can sell it and split the money. I should get her insurance too. Husbands usually do, right?" That was the moment I knew. It was time. I looked him straight in the eyes and said the sentence that destroyed him. "Eric, you don't inherit anything. Not a penny. Madison left everything to me." His face went blank. "What? That's impossible. Why would she?" I leaned forward. "Because she knew about the girls." His blood drained so fast, his lips turned white. I continued calmly. I've seen the messages, the photos, the timestamps, everything you thought you had erased. You didn't just cheat. You abandoned a dying woman. He dropped to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Mom, please, please help me. I did, for years. But Madison asked me to let you face the consequences. So I am. And then I walked away. Within a month, Eric lost everything. His job, his reputation, his friends, his girlfriends, who blocked him the moment his life fell apart, the house he thought he would inherit, the insurance he expected to cash in, his last name stained with shame. Now he lives in a tiny, grimy apartment, working night shifts, drowning in guilt he can't escape. I didn't ruin my son. He ruined himself. I simply stopped protecting him from the world he created.